As a journalist with 45 years of experience under my belt, I would say the situation that we're at now in the peace process as we celebrate the Silver Jubilee of the Good Friday Agreement is the reality is the Good Friday Agreement needs a major political MOT if the peace process is to survive into the next 25 years. I mentioned MOT there as if we're working on a car. There's two major spark plugs that we're going to need to make it succeed. The first one is that we need to return to the original Good Friday Agreement in terms of designations of unionist, nationalist and other. At the present minute, it's the largest party is entitled to the First Minister's position. So from that point of view, we've got to move it away from largest party to largest designation. The other thing, we desperately need the Stormont executive to be restored, but with the power to amend the Windsor framework. That's still the big sticking point, which is preventing the DUP from restarting power sharing here in Northern Ireland. So basically, the spark plug that needs is to give any new future assembly, which has kick-started, the power to seriously amend the Windsor framework. I'm a wee bit concerned about this visit by President Biden.
John, sorry to interrupt, John. Before we get on to Biden, I'm intrigued by your spark plugs because there's I mean, the first one, you're going from choosing the First Minister from the biggest party to the biggest designation. Would the parties actually want to go along with that? And secondly, even if that did actually allow the restoration of power sharing in Northern Ireland, the idea of the executive being able to alter the Windsor Agreement, well, that is hugely problematic in and of itself, isn't it?
Well, the hard reality is, Stephen, under the original mandate in 1998 when the Assembly was set up, designation was the way in which the various posts were decided. So if it worked in 1998, why was the St Andrews Agreement introduced in 2006 where the designation was changed? Yes, people can point to what was affectionately known as the Chuckle Brothers routine between the late Dr Ian Paisley and the former IRA commander Martin McGuinness. But that all eventually fell apart. So it has to be renewed. And that's why this MOT is vitally needed. And that's why I say specifically the spark plug of designation. The other thing is you mentioned about the Windsor framework. We have to be realistic. It's under its present condition. It's simply not going to get the Stormont executive back, so that the carrot, the sweetener that can be used to get it back is to allow the Assembly to have significant legislative powers to change it where necessary, so as we can get the executive up and running for the benefit of all the people in Northern Ireland.
It's astonishing that Stormont hasn't sat for a year now, is it? A year?
Yes, this is one of the crazy things about the peace process. Here we are celebrating the Silver Jubilee of what is one of the most historic agreements in the history of Northern Ireland, and we still have no functioning executive.
Is that going to... How long are we going to see this happening? I mean, how long is it going to take before they do get back into Stormont and start running the country? Because no decisions are being... You know, obviously we're celebrating the Good Friday Agreement 25 years in, but nothing else is being decided.
Yes, I can't really see anything happening until after May the 18th. That's the local government elections here in Northern Ireland. And the DUP will not want to risk losing seats, on one hand, to the more hardline traditional unionist voice, or even to the more softer Ulster Unionist Party and the Alliance Party. So we've got a massive waiting game being played out at the present minute. But the big danger for unionism is that it holds out too long, that the Westminster establishment gets fed up and says a plague on all your houses, and introduces some form of direct rule, which includes some part of Dublin involvement. In other words, the Republic of Ireland having a greater say in the running of this part of the United Kingdom. That is the doomsday scenario that we want to avoid.
Yeah, before that would happen, though, John, Chris Heaton-Harris would force another general election in Northern Ireland, wouldn't he? Which you would only imagine, actually, the DUP could suffer at the hands of the people of Northern Ireland in that. And as you say, perhaps a resurgence for the Ulster Unionists and the Unionist voice.
Well, what you're also looking at, let's look also at it from the DUP's point of view. There are only a couple of seats, if we go by the largest party, behind Sinn Féin, the IRA's political wing. Now, there's a couple of seats that they could win back again, depending on turnout and proper transfer of votes. If they did that and became the largest party again, then we're in a situation where I would say the DUP would walk into Stormont in the morning.